Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and tonight we're going to play with Brum Brum cars. Now, apparently when I was very young, still in nappies, I was extremely enamoured of my Brum Brum cars and played with them quite a lot. Brum, 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 brum. Oh yes, lots of fun. Well now, perhaps it's time to relive that with an extra dose of spikiness. Freeway Fighter is the only fighting fantasy book to deal rather heavily with Brum Brum cars, red din-dins, orange din-dins, and guardam bodas, as I like to call them in my childhood. The guardam boda was the car transporter thing where you put a load of cars on the back and then like the second row of cars above them and stuff. Yeah, it was guardam boda. Takes cars to places, you know. Red din-din was a bus and the orange din-din was a elephant, I think, actually. Oh, the things we say when we're very young. So, before I go any further, Creature of Havoc has not been forgotten. It's been a few months since I last played it. I do want to get back to it. But Freeway Fighter just got released, and I only played it once before, years ago, and while it formed some very strong memories, it's essentially brand new. Also, with the Ash Wastes expansion releasing for Necromunda, and all the Brum Brum cars getting on the tabletop, which I'll probably be playing with tomorrow night, having crashes while gangsters run around, leaping from car to car, dropping grenades in the vehicle and diving off and stuff like that. Oh, craziness. People falling off as they go around corners. It's all just epic, insane, over-the-top action in gas-guzzling vehicles that get really poor mileage. So let's dive right in, put the pedal to the metal, and drive around with way too many spiky bits, people who are not going to a funeral wearing an unhealthy amount of black material, and cars, car fighting, bad driving. We have our lovely cover picture. So what memories do I have of this book before I dive right in? Well, I remember the man with the rats. If we come to that encounter, it's pretty epic. I remember a female character who looked so different in two illustrations that I really had to stop and question whether it was actually supposed to be the same character at all. I remember having a fight with something called a red Chevy, or red Chevy, which was apparently some kind of car. A picture of some bald bloke, maybe with like a bit of a spiky Mohican hairstyle, sticking out of the top of something massive that looked like a tank. I remember a scene where I had to run across some kind of car park during a gunfight to get to a big petrol tanker. And that's about it, really. I remember there being vehicle-to-vehicle combat. And I think the car we drive was called an Interceptor, and it's got this bit on the top which looks like a gun, which apparently isn't a gun. Don't know what it does, though. And I've done really well to not mention a particular movie franchise so far, haven't I? Let's see if I can keep that up. Right, let's get in there. Obvious it's fighting fantasy rulebook, so we'll have the rules first. Freeway Fighter is a fighting fantasy game book, an interactive adventure in which you become the hero. After a rogue killer virus, a vast barbaric wilderness is all that remains of the world. Survivors like you either live in scattered fortified towns or roam outside as bandits. Life is lawless and dangerous. Your mission is to cross the wilderness to the far distant oil refinery at San Anglo and bring vital supplies back to the peaceful town of New Hope. Even in the armed Dodge Interceptor you are given, the journey will be wild and perilous. Will you survive? It's a fighting fantasy book. Kind of iffy, and dependent somewhat upon the dice. This gamebook has been designed for optimum challenge on the Adventurer difficulty mode. For newcomers to fighting fantasy, we recommend Adventurer or free read modes. For older readers already familiar with printed versions of this gamebook, we recommend Hardcore Hero mode. I've done it once, years ago. some of the people watching this video might not have even been born back when I played this in, what, 1992? Adventurer. Play Freeway Fighter exactly how Ian Livingstone designed it. Very little has been changed from the printed version. Your starting stamina is calculated by rolling 2d6 plus 24. It should be 2d6 plus 12. Why am I getting the extra 12 points? You're also given unlimited bookmarks, which act as like placing your fingers between the pages. Hardcore Hero. If you've beaten Freeway Fighter in Adventurer mode, or you have read the printed form of this gamebook before, now face your ultimate challenge. Your starting skill and the car's firepower are calculated by rolling 1d6 plus 4 instead of 1d6 plus 6, thus making you and your vehicle weaker and less skilled. You still receive unlimited bookmarks. Free read. Play Freeway Fighter like an old school cheater. Free read is set up the same as Adventurer mode, but it is different in that it gives you free options to easily negotiate your way through the book. The back button. You can move backwards to the previous section. Should you take the wrong direction, you can now back up and choose another path. Free choice button. You can unlock all links irrespective of whether they are available, so you can easily negotiate tricky parts of the story where you require certain items. And the Heal Me button. You're able to heal yourself at any time, so you will never run out of stamina. Which difficulty do you choose? Well, I won't go for free read, because that's basically cheating. Hardcore Hero. The skill and firepower reduction by 2 points may prove tricky. And also, I haven't played this book in about 30 years, so I should probably go for Adventurer. But I don't like the extra 12 stamina. It feels like cheating. I don't know why it's there. If I go Hardcore Hero and it gives me 2d6 plus 24, I'll be like, oh, okay, so that's just the normal health for this book, and we just got extra health in this book to represent the fact that we spend a lot of time in the car, and the car can take damage for us. I don't know. So I'll go Adventurer. You have chosen the Adventurer difficulty. Before continuing, you must calculate your initial stamina. Your stamina score is a measure of your physical fitness and constitution. The higher your stamina score, the longer you will be able to survive. You must roll 2 dice and add 24 to the number rolled. This will be entered in the stamina box on your character sheet. Stamina will go up and down during your journey, but if your stamina falls to 0, you die, and your adventure is over. If your stamina is getting low, remember to use your medkit. Let's roll it. I don't mind if it rolls low, because we shouldn't have this much anyway. Your skill is a measure of your driving, mechanical, and fighting abilities. Skill may increase or decrease slightly during your journey, but may never exceed its initial value, unless something tells you that it can exceed its initial value. Your starting skill is determined by rolling 1 die and adding 6 to the number. This is then entered in the skill box on your adventure sheet. Yeah, 9. Bad average, slightly above average for enemies, but that's okay. Your luck score is a measure of fate and fortune in your life. Your starting luck is determined by rolling 1 die and adding 6 to the number. This is then entered in the luck box on your adventure sheet. Yes, a nice high luck of 11, that's great. Your car's armour and weaponry will also be determined by dice rolls. The first feature is known as firepower. The firepower score is that a that's not a bazooka, is it? It's like a rocket launcher on the roof, by the look of it. The firepower score is a measure of the car's engine power and the effectiveness of its machine guns. Your car's starting firepower is determined by rolling 1 die and adding 6 to a number. Yeah, sure, we'd go with that. So, okay. Car, not the most dangerous in the world. Car gets 2 dice plus 24 for armour. Tough car. Like it. Fuel and other equipment. In addition to its machine guns and an unlimited supply of bullets. Unlimited! You know it's an action movie. Game. The car also carries missile weapons, which may be used during combat. You have at your disposal 4 rockets, 3 canisters of iron spikes, and 2 rear-mounted oil sprays with 1 canister of oil each of which may be used when the option is available. Oh, no. You have at disposal all these things which may be used. Oh, no, that is grammatically correct. It just feels like there should be an extra each. Fuel may be acquired during the journey and will be added to your adventure sheet. Other modifications and accessories for your car which are acquired during the journey will also appear there. Credits are the emergency currency units of the 21st century, known familiarly as creds. You start your journey with 200 credits, but are likely to spend and or acquire more credits along the way. However, most people distrust credits and prefer to barter. You may, for instance, have to use some of your medkit in barter. It's time for a vid news bulletin. Let's go for it. Vid news bulletin. Deadline 21st of July 2022. Oh hey! That's really quite close now, isn't it? That's what, 3 weeks off? Flippin' heck. Let's hope it doesn't get this bad in 3 weeks' time, eh? The disaster happened just at a time when the world was beginning... Oh no, it's about 4 weeks. Even so. Ooh. The disaster happened just at a time when the world was beginning to enjoy itself. Nobody could have predicted such a catastrophe. World War III had been averted, and the power blocks of East and West were now working towards world peace and unity. Revolutionary farming techniques had all but eradicated hunger, and the increased mobility had led to people's greater understanding of one another. The morning of the 21st of July 2022 had started just like any other. It was going to be a hot day, and the news on the holovision was good. A government spokesperson proudly announced that solar energy now powered 90% of homes and 70% of industry. The 3-day working week was now the norm, and England was to play the United States in the soccer finals of the World Cup in Sydney. However, there were only hours to go before the beginnings of the collapse of civilization. Later that day, an unknown disease broke out in New York and spread with such devastating speed and fatality that before the government and scientists realized what was happening, half the population was dead. The disease spread throughout the world, carried by aeroplane passengers, and decimated popular centres everywhere. I've got to say, I have a distinct feeling that this is the original introduction to the adventure and it has not been rewritten. If it had been rewritten, they might have said, hey, look, 90% of homes solar powered by 2022. Little bit ambitious given how negative and horrible the oil countries and other things, oil companies, and yeah, how much they work to crush alternative technologies. All attempts at quarantine were useless. 4 days after the outbreak, 85% of the world's population were dead. Communications, essential services, transport and administration had broken down completely. There was no one left to try and find the cause of the outbreak. It might have been a mutated virus or some lethal germ unknowingly released from a chemical warfare laboratory. It was mere speculation and nobody really cared, as survival was the top priority. The speed with which civilization fell into ruins was frightening. Most survivors didn't know why they still lived, and didn't know how to go on living. Brute force became the law. Riots, looting, destruction, and drunkenness were commonplace. People would even kill for a can of beans. Large cities were soon abandoned due to the lack of food and risk of disease. 6 months after the disaster, there remained 2 kinds of people: those who wanted order again, and those who revelled in the disorder. The former grouped themselves into small towns and built defences around them. Inside, they appointed leaders and began the task of self-sufficiency. These fortress towns became the homes of the military, farmers, doctors, and people concerned with the rebuilding of civilization. The other group lived a wild and brutal existence outside. They were the new barbarians, Roaming the land in cycle or car gangs, they terrorized or wiped out any small pockets of civilization they came across. Sorry, I'm just imagining a group on skateboards and push bikes. On cycles. They didn't say motorcycles. You're one of the lucky survivors living in a fortress town, which has been named New Hope. You are working on the design of an early warning system to protect the town when you hear a knock at your door. Hang on, this is still a vid news bulletin? A knock at your... Whoa, okay. This is a very distinct video. And it's on the national news. Well, so-called national. It is 2 members of the town council and they look very excited. They tell you that their radio has just picked up a message from a fortified oil refinery near San Anglo in the south. The people there are willing to exchange 10,000 litres of petrol for grain and seeds to improve their food production. The inhabitants of New Hope could certainly use the money for generators and agricultural machinery. Being offered 10,000 litres of this rare commodity is too good an opportunity to miss, especially as there are surplus stocks of grain and seed. The council has agreed to the deal, and are now looking for somebody to undertake the journey to San Anglo to deliver the sacks and drive the petrol tanker back to New Hope. And just like the most recent film, the plot is they drove along the road and then they turned around and drove back along the road again the other way. I swear, this book came out in the 80s, possibly late 90s, not a few years ago. It's almost like filmmakers are rehashing old plots. Oh well, never mind. It will be a long and dangerous journey through lawless country. The 2 men tell you that they think you are the best trained person to undertake such a mission and ask if you would like to volunteer. They tell you that a Dodge Interceptor will be prepared for the journey. It'll be fitted with machine guns, radio, roof-mounted rocket launcher, ram bars, loudspeaker, and various defences including rear oil spray, tyre shredding spikes, armour plating, and bulletproof windows. You do not need convincing, as the benefit to New Hope will be enormous. This pioneer journey might be the start of the link between the new societies trying to bring about civilization if you succeed. Yeah, literally reforging links, connecting societies back up together. You know, reforging society itself. You tell them that you will do the job and begin your preparations immediately. Over the next 2 days, you supervise the modifications to the Interceptor. When it is finally ready, it looks like a battle car. And I believe it was the American Steve Jackson, not the British Steve Jackson associated with Final Fantasy, who produced the original Battle Cars game. Was it Car Wars? I can't remember. You check it one last time to ensure that the weapons work and that all your equipment has been packed away in the various compartments. You run through the checklist. Map, flashlight, medkit, compass, food, water, full fuel canister, 2 spare wheels, flat you fix, instant puncture repairer, and tools. Finally, you put on the shoulder holster for your revolver and leather jacket, which carries your bullets and knife. You need a shoulder holster for a leather jacket? No, but your leather jacket carries your bullets and knife. And maybe the shoulder holster for your revolver as well. Satisfied that you are ready, you climb into the driver's seat. Peering through the narrow steel slit that is now your windscreen, you see the town's population gathered to wave you goodbye. You start up the engine of the Interceptor and crawl forward to the gates leading to the outside world. It is over a year since you last ventured beyond the walls of New Hope, and you are excited of the prospect of what you will find. Now turn over. That's not what I wanted. Let's have a hero. We don't need the creature. Let's have a hero, and we will call him Jake. And Jake should look like... Oh, yeah. Yeah. What other options do we have now? Jake should look like someone who drives a car in the apocalypse. Sure, we'll go with this. Character sheet? Yeah, there's Jake. He drives a brum brum car. He's got a death wish. Let's go. The first thing to strike you as you cruise along the road is the speed with which everything has fallen into decay. You hadn't realised how much maintenance was needed to support civilization. All around, buildings are falling into ruin. Abandoned cars litter the road in rusted disarray. Grass and weeds have grown rampant everywhere, with nobody to hold them back and packs of dogs and other wild animals roaming free. You stop at a small town some 15 kilometres from New Hope and switch off your engine. Yes, apparently this book uses evil metric measurements for some reason. Suddenly, it is deathly silent apart from the eerie howl. Well, they do feel more modern and scientific and fit in more with the sort of science fiction setting here. Of the far-flung future of 2022, which we will never live to reach, honestly, and there's no way it could actually be like this by that point, right? Because, yeah. Suddenly it is deathly silent apart from the eerie howl of a dog somewhere down the street. So there's a dog. Even in the far future, bad dogs are barking when they shouldn't. Like next door. You're tempted to get out of the car to explore, but realise that it is an unnecessary risk. You're about to start your engine again when suddenly the sound of a shotgun breaks the silence. You can get out of the car to investigate or drive out of town. Right. If we get out of the car to investigate, there will obviously be danger. We might be able to benefit from this in some way. Drive straight out of town. Our quest, our duty is to get to our destination, San Anglo, and make the delivery. If we get out of the car, we're going to take the keys out of the car, right? We're not going to leave it so someone could steal it. You run across the road and press yourself against the wall of the building, half expecting another shot to ring out. Your heart beats fast as you crawl forward, slowly to the corner of the building and look around. There is nobody in sight down the narrow street. You take one step around the corner and then a voice shouts out, "Okay, that's far enough. One more step and you'll be full of holes. Where are you from?" I can tell him I'm from New Hope. This seems vaguely familiar. Yeah, are they going to try and... I think they're going to try and rob me. I think it's like two people. If you reply that you're a lone road warrior living nowhere in particular. I mean, 15 kilometres, that's what, like 32, 33 miles, something like that. So I've driven far enough that it's not immediately obvious where I've come from. But no, I'll be honest. This person might be sympathetic to... They might. To my location. A man suddenly appears out of a doorway and walks towards you with his shotgun pointed at you. He looks at you sternly and says, "That's where I'm heading. Been cycling for over a week since my station wagon was ambushed and my wife and son were killed. Stopped here to get some cans of food from a supermarket back there when some crazy dogs attacked me. Shot one of them and the others ran off. My name's Johnson. Pleased to meet you." "Hey, pleased to meet you, Johnson. I'm so glad you're probably not going to kill me." He puts down his shotgun and extends his hand for you to shake. He tells you that he is a builder by trade and asks how much further it is to New Hope and whether he is likely to be let in. You reply that it is only another 15 kilometres, and his chances are good. They need skilled people. You also tell him about your mission and he warns you not to stop at Joe's garage, which is about 8 kilometres out of town. Out of town. They ain't got no petrol. They just rob people who stop there. You thank Johnson for the advice, wish him luck, and walk back to your interceptor. Its powerful engine roars into life when you turn the ignition key and you screech off once again. So I got something good, right? I got a clue. Don't stop at Joe's garage. And it literally says, don't stop at Joe's garage. I was literally like just reiterating it for myself. A Dodge Interceptor. Does it have its own character sheet? Am I supposed to be able to like click on that and see its stats? Or will it just switch to it if we get vehicle combat? Oh well. You're soon out of town, zigzagging around wrecked cars and fallen trees along the road. Further ahead, you do see that the road joins the main highway south. There is a small filling station at the junction named Joe's Garage. You stop as you are intrigued by the hot rod parked around the side, looking clean and in running condition. A young woman suddenly comes out of the office wearing a t-shirt and blue jeans. She smiles and says, "Hi, can I help you?" You talk to her or drive on up the highway. We've been warned. Thing is, I don't think this is the woman who appears in 2 different illustrations and looks significantly different. I'm going to drive off. Like, screw you lady, I ain't even going to say goodbye. Hey, it's the big bloke with the short hair sticking out the top of the thing. Despite the hazard of trying to avoid abandoned cars, the highway is wide enough. Oh, is he like some kind of street samurai? It's got a vaguely oriental hairstyle in theory. Despite the hazard of having to avoid abandoned cars, the highway is wide enough for you to gather plenty of speed. It's exciting to drive so freely without fear of being hauled in by the police for violating some traffic regulation or other. You smile as you speed across 190 kilometers per hour. As your speed reaches 190 kilometers, flipping heck, that is positively dangerous. But your joy is short-lived. You suddenly see a red Chevrolet. Whatever that is. It's some kind of car, I think. Heavily reinforced with steel plating coming straight towards you. Somebody is sitting in a small turret on the roof, a machine gunner. You think to yourself that maybe having to deal with the police in the old days wasn't so bad compared to with what is coming at you now. You breathe in combat and get ready to pass the machine gun fire button. Right, let's do it. Dodge Interceptor and the red Chevy. Rocket, let's save it for an emergency. For now, we just fight. And we're taking damage, I think. Yep. $30, $33. Oh yeah, that's right. I was like, did it go up? No, it did not. Ah! Okay, so if we're taking D6 damage a time in vehicle combat, that explains the higher stamina scores, but we might just want to fire a rocket. Using rocket. Oh wow. That's an auto kill? Yikes, I better be careful with the other 3 of them. Don't want to waste them. Red Chevy is blown to bits! Tap to continue. You stop your interceptor to examine the burning wreck. Who were these people and why did they attack you without warning? You shake your head and hit the accelerator, eager to reach your destination. You're passing a security truck and thinking about all the money inside it, which is now useless, when suddenly a voice comes through on your radio, above the crackling static. It's one of the New Hope's leaders. She tells you how a gang of bikers have just attacked New Hope, killing 8 people in the process. Oh, shit. I probably just told them they'd have an easy time getting in as well. After a short battle, they were eventually beaten off. She warns you to be on the lookout for them, as they have kidnapped Sinclair, the council leader, who I might get to rescue. You acknowledge the message and say goodbye. After an hour or so of driving without any further incident, you notice that your petrol gauge is dropping. The Interceptor is very heavy on petrol. Meaning I've got a leak, or... You stop and pour the contents of the fuel canister into the tank, realizing that you will have to find some more petrol soon, and I didn't get some at a petrol station. A few kilometers further and you know that your luck will as easily run out. There must have been a car crash at the time of the disaster which caused a huge tailback of now abandoned cars. Could I get some petrol out of them, like siphon it out? It is impossible to continue along the highway. You reverse back to the last exit and drive off the highway. You must decide which way to head along the road which crosses over it, east or west. I'm going to pretend the fighting fantasy rule might work, so I need to go east. You pass an ambulance parked off the road to your right, and you see no sign of life. Yeah, I can stop and investigate or keep driving on. I'll stop and investigate. You park your Interceptor and walk back to the ambulance. The driver's cab is empty, although the ambulance looks as if it has been driven quite recently. Yeah, let's open the back door and look inside. You turn the handle and pull. An explosion is accompanied by a brilliant white flash and deafening noise. The door was booby-trapped. We're going to lose some stamina. 2 whole points. The explosion sends you reeling backwards. I hope I don't bump into my car and hurt myself. The door hangs off the hinges, but there is nothing inside the ambulance. Its owner will probably be on his way now to see who he has caught. You feel too weak to reach the Interceptor and decide to crawl into hiding. We can hide in the grass or hide under the ambulance. If I hide under the ambulance and he drives away, that might be bad. If I hide in the grass, I might get detected. I'm going to hide under the ambulance. Oh, shit. Well, hey, glad I didn't lie in the grass. Lying perfectly still under the ambulance, you hear the sound of footsteps approaching. The pain in your side is severe, making you grip your revolver tightly. Suddenly a man's voice shouts, "Hey, stupid! Think I can't follow a trail of blood? Throw your gun out and ease yourself out from under that ambulance with your hands up." Roll out from under the ambulance firing my gun while I'm in pain from an explosion to the side. Sod it, I'll do it. You know your chances are slim, but there is no alternative. This bandit has got you cold. Ignoring the pain, you roll out from underneath the ambulance and fire 2 wild shots at your unseen adversaries. They both miss, for you suddenly see a scruffy man wearing a red headband jump out from behind a rock, returning fire at you. Your skill is reduced by 1 point for the duration of this fight because of your injury. If you are shot more than once during this combat, then this skill will be reduced permanently. Okay. Oh, this is risky. -1, even footing. Ouch. Damn it. Oh, permanent skill loss. Man, we're just getting gunned to bits here. Look, just... Thank you, game. A little awkward on the dice there. It happens sometimes. Man, poor Jake probably ain't gonna make it. I'm not sure hiding in the grass would have been any better. Obviously not approaching the... Oh, for flip's sake, he's good. He's a good opponent. Come on, Jake, grit your teeth and fight through the pain of that permanent skill loss and keep getting shot. Man. So many grinding hits, glancing hits. Come on, just take the damage, man. Oh, of all the what an indignity, of all the ways to die. Finally! Returning some damage, but I don't think we're going to make it out of this one. I notice we don't have the opportunity to use luck in combat here. That's probably for the best, all things considered. We're very close to death here. Yeah, shoot him back, Jake. That's right. Crawl for cover behind that hubcap. Maybe get into the ambulance, use it as a bit of cover. Uh-oh. Yeah! I mean, Jake's definitely taking the permanent skill loss here, but flipping heck. If you are shot more than once during this combat, this skill will be reduced permanently. Yes. You were shot more than once and have permanently dropped a skill point. Well, bugger. Yep, skills down to 8. Oh, they permanently reduced for maximum as well? That's nasty. You search through the dead man's pockets and find 150 credits and a pair of knuckle dusters. You pocket your findings and when you feel strong enough, limp back to your interceptor wondering how long your medkit will last. You turn the ignition key and burn up the road heading east. Can I, medkit. Yes. Emergency medkit. 4 points, just like rations. You flash past a road sign which shows a turning to the south immediately ahead. We can drive south or keep cruising past. Let's keep on going east. The road is open and wrecked cars are an infrequent hazard. The speedometer reads well above the maximum speed limit that is used to control the road, but you know that there is no chance of getting a speeding ticket now. Your enjoyment, however, is short-lived. A roadblock of upturned cars and trucks comes into view. You slow down and survey the scene, sensing danger. If you have any, will you fire a rocket at the roadblock? That's a bit excessive, isn't it? We try to drive around the blockade. Maybe you would rather turn around and drive back to the last junction and head south. That invitation to go back and head the other way is tempting, but I'm like, you know what? This is a better use of a rocket than to take out an opponent. Oh, look at that. Bits of vehicles flying in every direction. I think that's like a car door. That's like an entire car. Look at it, it's like a great big skull, 2 eyes, and a... Oh, you kind of got a leering mouth on the side there as well. It looks a bit like a pair of sunglasses too. Reaching forward, you press the rocket launcher button on the control panel. The interceptor shakes as the rocket is fired, and the explosion which follows immediately is loud and blinding. When the smoke clears, you see that the roadblock no longer exists. Suddenly, you hear the roar of a motorcycle engine starting up and see 2 leather-clad armed riders appearing from behind a bush and blaze up the road through the hole in the roadblock. The passenger turns and fires a warning shot at you as the bikes race away. Well, look, I'm just going to have to medkit like crazy. I think I got someone to rescue. I absolutely must drive after them. Before you have time to catch them, you turn around and drive straight. They turn around and drive straight towards you. The machine gun above the headlamps blazes red and white as it spits out bullets at you. You press the accelerator down hard on the floor and race the interceptor towards them, your finger clutching the machine gun trigger. It's time to fight. I believe this is vehicle combat again. Our vehicle is in good shape. Do not waste the rocket. Good. Good go. Yeah, you shoot that bike. Come on, be like Sean Connery on Little Nelly. Absolutely demolish the enemy drivers. Uh-oh, we're taking damage here, I think. Ever so... Ooh, a hard hit. Are we going to have to do one after the other? I think we are. Yeah, get shot. I don't like that ability to accidentally reroll. Right, second biker. You walk over to the wrecked bike, carrying your revolver in one hand and the medkit in the other. One of the men is dead and the other is barely alive. You kick his pistol away from him and see if he can be saved. He opens his eyes and smiles and says, "Fat Jack and the boys will get you for this." Then he slumps back and is still. Your medkit cannot help him. But it can help me! Look, I took a lot of damage early on. You check the bike over and notice a locked side pannier. Yes, I'd like to open this. Maybe I can do it. You fire up the lock on the pannier. 3 shots and it's open. Inside you find a pair of handcuffs, a map and 200 credits. After putting the handcuffs and the credits in your jacket pocket, you look at the map. There is a red circle drawn around New Hope. Obviously these men came from the same gang that attacked New Hope. A small town named Rockville is marked with a red cross and is not too far southeast from where you are now. No doubt it is the temporary home of the bikers. You decide to change the wheel on your interceptor before any of the biker's friends arrive. Okay. Fortunately, the wheel hub is not damaged and you're able to fit the spare wheel quite quickly. You're soon charging down the road, shaking your head at the mad world you are now forced to live in. It was southeast, wasn't it? You soon arrive at another signpost, which points down a narrow dirt track towards a town called Rockville. I will absolutely drive south towards Rockville. The Fighting Fantasy rule would say don't drive south, drive east. But we have a compelling reason to drive south. So remember, the Fighting Fantasy rule is a generalization, and it's a default if you don't have a better reason to do something else. Let's live dangerously, go fight a gang of bikers. The dirt track is rough and bumpy, and you realise that people for miles around will see the dust that the speeding interceptor is throwing up. Nevertheless, you are determined to reach Rockville. Suddenly you see a blinding flash on top of a boulder in the distance. Oh, is it a sniper scope? We're lucky. Somebody has fired a bazooka at you, but the shell explodes harmlessly a few meters to your left. You press down on the accelerator, steering the interceptor towards your attackers, but before you can reach them, they jump onto motorbikes and race off. Chase them or reverse drive back to the road. No, hell, I'm chasing them. There's a bullet-shattered window. Something that looks vaguely like part of an antler on the ground, but I think it's just a stick. These buildings are remarkably plain in terms of detail, leading to an ominous feeling there's something much more dangerous going on here. The bikes are suited to driving along the dirt track and you're unable to catch up with them. In the distance you see a cluster of houses which must be Rockville. The bikes drive straight towards the houses and disappear from view. As you get closer you hear the sound of gunfire which seems to be coming from the nearest farmhouse. I hope they haven't just shot the prisoner. Assuming you have any, will you fire a rocket at the farmhouse? No, there's a prisoner to rescue! Or will you keep on driving towards the houses? Or you could reverse... No, drive towards the houses. You swerve the car from side to side to make it difficult to aim at, and at the same time return fire with your machine gun. Oh, bollocks. I'm going to crash, aren't I? A bullet punctures one of your front tyres. To see how much armour you lose, you must roll one die. It's okay. 2 points. We can take it. We got, like, over 20 left. Can I please... Does it pull up separately? It does! Hooray! We've got the flat you fix. We'll be needing some of that. 2 rockets, oil sprays, wheel spray. Yeah, we're good. Still got our spare wheel. Interesting. Okay. You momentarily lose control of the car and hit a boulder at high speed. Oh, more car damage, I bet. Oh god, more car damage. You cannot drive on a flat tyre, but it is dangerous to leave the car while under fire. Suddenly you see another blinding flash. The bazooka is being fired through a top floor window of the farmhouse. To determine this additional damage to your intercept, you must roll 2 dice. Oh, that's a lot. You're a sitting target and the shell does not miss. The interceptor remains intact, but you need to come up with a plan to get out of this dire situation. No, but you need to come out with a plan. Okay, so it's not but the need to get out of it is pressing. If you have a rocket left to fire, yes, look, I'm going to have to do it. The farmhouse is an easy target to compute, and you're able to press the fire button in seconds. Probably should have pressed it earlier. The rocket does not miss. The explosion destroys the farmhouse, sending fragments of brick and wood flying through the air. I should absolutely save that last rocket. I might not have needed to demolish the barricade. You grab the can of flat you fix and repair the puncture. What, during gunfight? When the dust has settled, you drive cautiously ahead, one finger against the machine gun trigger. You stop alongside the farmhouse, but see no signs of life. You turn off the engine and wind down the window of the interceptor. You hear the desperate cry of a man calling for help. Given that it could be one of the town elders from New Hope, I will get out of the car and investigate. Yeah! You walk over towards the sound of the cry for help and find that it is coming from inside a shack attached to the general store. You ask who's inside the shack. It's Sinclair, New Hope's council leader. You search around and find an iron bar to pry open the lock on the door. Oh no, to prise open. Yeah, that works, because it makes sense under certain circumstances. Soon, Sinclair is free. You gained 1 luck point. Sinclair tells you about the raid on New Hope and his kidnapping. He asks you to radio to New Hope to tell them that he will return by motorbike as soon as possible. There are 2 bikes parked in front of the general store, of which he chooses the old Harley Davidson. Thanking you for your help, he waves goodbye and roars off north. We can now search the general store, search the nearest house, or... Right. Let's absolutely search. We'll search the shop for food and supplies, right? Inside the general store, you find a can of meat, which you greedily devour, not having eaten such a rare delicacy in a long time. Ugh. It's probably raw as well, right? Your stamina increases by 2 points. What is it, like spam? More important, you find a full canister of petrol, which you stow inside the interceptor. If you've not done so already, you may search for the nearest house. I don't think it's the Rat Man, but it'd be great if it was. You open the front door of the house and step inside. Leading off the hallway, there are 2 doors facing each other. The fact I'm presented with 2 doors means it's not the Rat Man. Obviously, Fighting Fantasy rule will go to the left. The door opens into a room that has recently been occupied. There are unfinished cups of coffee on the table and the front wheel of a motorcycle propped up against the wall, its inner tube lying on the floor. Somebody was obviously in the process of mending a puncture. There is also a toolkit on the table, inside which you find a pair of heavy-duty wire cutters which you decide to take with you. If you have not already done so, you may open the door in the room opposite. Sure, let's do that. Opening the door trips a wire which is pulled taut around the trigger of a crossbow in the far wall. The bolt is unleashed from the bow and thuds into your shoulder. Ow! Hope I don't die. Oh! The force of the blow spins you around. After attending to your wound, you find that there is nothing apart from rubbish and broken furniture in the room, which is merely booby-trapped to deter intruders. Yep, Fighting Fantasy rule shouldn't have gone right. Lose a luck point for just the bad decision. We've already searched the shop, so let's leave. Still kind of injured. Medkit again. Worth it. Do need to be careful with these though, because I'm not sure I'll be able to get more during my journey. Getting up to 19 stamina, that gives me a good 3 or 4 hits I can take. Ugh. The dirt track twists and turns through an open countryside, but at last you come to a T-junction where the dirt track is crossed by a good road. You look down it both ways, but do not see any vehicles or signs of life. East or west? Right. Going east twice in a row has me heading back the way I went. Oh, no, that's left and right. No, yeah, just keep going east. The road heads directly east, and you're able to travel along it without incident until you reach another T-junction. Here, you decide to turn right in order to drive south towards San Anglo. The road cuts through overgrown fields, but there are no obstructions. You check your mileometer to see how far you've come, and notice that the petrol gauge is reading empty again. I have picked up a fuel canister during my journey, otherwise I'd be in trouble. You brake to a halt and get out of the car to empty the fuel canister into the petrol tank. The canister does not hold much petrol, and you realise that you will have to be on the lookout for more if you hope to reach San Anglo. By the time you set off again, it is early evening, and you watch the setting sun through the right-hand window. Soon it will be dark, and there is a new decision to make. If you wish to drive off the road to sleep the night inside the interceptor, or drive through the night. I can drive off the road, not far off the road, just off the edge, so I don't get bumped into by anyone else coming along it. Or keep driving through the night. You know what? I'm kind of injured, rest will be good, but I think I will leave this decision to drive into the very next episode. I hope you've all been enjoying this first episode of crazy road rage madness, and I'll look forward to seeing you all in the next one, where I will continue to attempt to not mention Mad Max. I think I did very well to get this far without doing so. Alright guys, thanks a lot. Hope you all enjoyed this one and see you all soon. Bye bye for now.